Here are some reasons that I've noted that students enjoy attending summer school. The first reason that they do it is so that they can gain credits that they may have missed during the academic year. So for instance, I have a number of students that are in pre-med programs, and the semester that they take organic chemistry, they may decide only to take 3 courses rather than the normal 4 courses during a semester, and then they would make up that extra credits during the summer session. A second reason is that they might do it to accelerate their university credits. For instance, if they wanted to graduate in, say, 3.5 years instead of 4 years, in that case they might take summer school courses. A third reason would be for their own interest. Because college years go so quickly, sometimes it's difficult to fit in all the courses that you really want to take. So if there's special courses that are really of interest to you, but you don't have time to take them during the normal academic year, doing it during the summer session is a real good option.
Yeah, I mean, they want to help their students quite a lot, but they're very critical in terms of their standards, and it's what makes them so good. I think one of my most unforgettable experiences with SIE is one of my students did not pass the class, and afterwards he sent me 2 emails begging me, telling me he really needed it, that he wasn't going to be able to graduate this year without this class. And I told him, well, look, I mean, my integrity as a professional, really as a teacher representing the program and representing my own university, demands that I treat students really in a way that reflects their accomplishment, their effort. And most students, typically when they hear that, they're very disappointed, and sometimes they can even be upset. Usually you never hear back from them. This student wrote back to me and said, "Thank you for telling me this. I now highly respect you. This is why American universities are so great." And I think this is really kind of the key to what makes American universities work. There really are rules. You really do have to abide by them. They're not arbitrary rules. And professors really take their responsibilities very seriously.
So students who've studied at SIE in China over the past few years have found that they've been able to transfer their credits back to their home institutions. So far, something like 240 American colleges and universities have accepted the SIE credits. We try to keep SIE programs being very much like good American summer school programs. Yeah, I think SIE quality is in part assured by some of the institutions that SIE has developed over the last 4 years. Last year we introduced an academic board, which is a faculty member from each of the campuses, and that faculty member really takes charge of the academic decision making. That we've shifted the responsibility to the academic director on each campus to make academic decisions, to work more closely with the faculty, to support the faculty, to run the orientation program for the faculty. We've done that. The academic board also gets together in Beijing before the program starts, and then again after the program is completed, and we take notes. So the academic board meets before and after the program in Beijing, and we get together to talk about common problems that we've noticed, things that could be improved in the program.
One of the main differences in the ways in which I believe Chinese students learn material versus American students is that they do not question authority or the information of the professor as much as American students tend to do. And that's, again, due to a lot of factors, not least being that in China there's more of a respect and order to authority in the classroom of the professor, and therefore they do not usually have an interrogation process going on with the professor as they might do in the United States, where students sometimes are skeptical of what the professor is saying and will argue with him, and so on and so forth. And so I found that there was a real difference there, that most Chinese students were very passive in receiving the information and very little question the accuracy or the authenticity of anything that I was saying. Chinese students tend to be much more disciplined and ready to do the work than American students, and that might be a product of their experiences in China as they're growing up and the educational framework within which they develop their understanding of it. And so American students have a much more loosely structured framework of studying, and this is something that means that translated in the classroom as more serious attentiveness and eagerness to listen to what the professor has to say in the classroom.
I think there probably were quite a few classroom eruptions of sorts where people seem to come together and laugh at a certain thing that happened or enjoyed. So there are a number of exercises, assignments that I do. I had one student in particular who was a rather large guy, and I knew based on an informational profile that I'd passed out at the beginning of the class that he was a great fan of Kobe Bryant, the basketball player. And so he was one of these reluctant students until I figured out a way to make good use of Kobe Bryant in a particular lesson. And once I kind of bridged that conversation with him, he began to warm up. Prior to that, he'd been sitting in the back of the class, not participating very much. But once he realized that I too appreciated Kobe Bryant's abilities, he began to think, well, maybe this theater class is going to be interesting. I ended up bringing him to the front of the class, had him be the center character in a scene that I was working on. And as it turned out, he was remarkably engaging and lively, and the students really grew to appreciate what he was about and what he did.
Ultimately, it depends what the purpose of education is. I mean, obviously, they should know the English language. I think that's very, very essential. I mean, they don't necessarily have to have mastered the language, but they should know the basics so that when they're writing a paper, they're writing an exam, they should be able to write the exam easily, fluently. So they should be prepared. When they're here, they will be able to improve their language skills. The vocabulary will expand. They will have better grasp of the grammar, syntax, and so on. But at least the basics should be there for the language. The second point would be depending on what they're going to study. If they're going to study management, they should be familiar with the American style of management courses. They should do some research before they actually come here to see what kind of courses are being offered by the management department. If they're going to do, let's say, economics, they should do research and see what type of courses, what do the syllabi look like, to what extent they would be able to effectively participate in those courses based on the copies of the syllabi that they have. Once they look at the syllabi, they're familiar with the program, to email the professors with questions.
Well, I think what's unique about the Chinese students that I taught, insofar as they were studying in the United States but were able to go home to China for the summer, yet receive the credit hours at the U.S. university and have the possibility of U.S. professors like they would have in the United States teaching there. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I think it's unique in my understanding of study abroad programs. It allows them some time home, which is very important, to be with family and friends, but also maintain the progress they're making toward their education in the United States. I think part of it is that students may feel a bit more relief when they come to the United States after taking a summer program, because we compress a lot of material into 6 weeks. But I also think that depending on the courses they take, they will have a much better knowledge of the core material that will prepare them to go on and take more advanced classes.